Alright folks, we've got a new toy here. It's my birthday present to myself because during my whole life no one's ever gotten me anything I wanted for my birthday for the most part. So I'm a little selfish occasionally and buy myself something nice. And it's a Work Tuff Gear knife, of course. Oh, what do we got here? We got a Work Tuff Gear Kodiak with the brown grips and the, I think they called it a green liner, but it's kind of like a neon yellowish, greenish liner. Alright, what goodies did this guy come with? We got some straps, and we got some little, I forget what these things are called, but you just hook them onto the sheath and you can hang the strap off so you can carry it strapped to yourself, kind of like a piece of luggage almost. That's probably how I'm going to carry this knife because it's relatively heavy. I get the usual Work Tuff Gear stuff. There's a little Work Tuff Gear patch in here. It comes with a belt loop as well, so I got a little belt loop I can attach it to, which I'll probably never use for this knife. I may use it for another knife. I got a really cool high-vis orange microfiber cloth. What else we got? We got the Work Tuff Gear patch, and we've got the Work Tuff Gear sticker. So they always come with lots of fun stuff. That's a nice feeling sticker. It's like a decal. So I'm going to set the sheath up another time, but I'm going to move some of this out of the way here. Let's put it back in here. I'm going to look at the knife. Hopefully you can't see my horrendous mess I have around on my workbench right now, but it is what it is. So we got this guy. Nice Kodiak sheath, no rattle, of course, as I would expect from Work Tuff Gear. And this is the Kodiak and A6 Max. I'm super excited about this knife. It's going to be really awesome. I mean, it already is awesome. So you got a nice thick spine. It's about the same thickness as my mountain lion that I have, and I'll bring that out in a sec. It's got more depth to the blade, though, which means it can taper more, and it's razor sharp. Ooh, yeah. That's about as sharp as my Work Tuff Gear Nomad Bushcrafter came. That's really, really sharp. You could really do some kitchen work with this if you really wanted to, and maybe I will. Feels pretty nice in the hand. I was curious how the grip was going to feel because it's a totally different grip than the Mountain Lion. Feels pretty good. Probably for a little bit bigger of hands. You can see my fingers are wrapping all the way around, but that's not going to stop me from holding onto it. And then the chopping grip, my fingers can wrap all the way around. So if I choke up a little bit on it, yeah, feels pretty good actually. Even though it's a little bit big for my hand, it still feels good in the hand. So I'm happy with that. Let's compare it to some other knives. Before we do, let's just go through the features. This is a bit different than the Grizzly. So you don't have a choil and you don't have a clip point at the top. It's just flat. I like that for what this knife is intended for. This is a chopper. This is a batoner for me. So this is going to make batoning just a little bit easier on your baton. It's not going to eat it up as fast when you have that nice flat top there. And then the tip is actually still pretty good. It's actually pretty sharp tip. So you could stab with this no problem. I don't think. Yeah. So I was in between this and the Bear Claw. And you know what? I just wanted something for chopping more and batoning, and I knew the Bear Claw was going to be maybe a little big for kind of a hiking self-defense knife. I'd like to see Alex make something just like the Bear Claw, but about the size of the Mountain Lion with maybe like a 7 or 8 inch blade. So let's bring out the Mountain Lion. So you can see Mountain Lion. Ooh, this thing dwarfs the Mountain Lion. You can see the grips are a bit different, bigger grip, a little bit more angled. And then you got the angled bird beak, whereas the Mountain Lion's a little bit more straight, but it does curve just slightly. And then you can see there's a bit more width to the blade on the Kodiak. So it's gonna be a little bit more sharp, I think, even than this knife. I mean, this knife's pretty sharp too. Let's see the blade thickness at the edge. Looks a little bit thinner on the Kodiak. I think the Kodiak's actually a sharper knife. which is interesting. And then they're supposed to have the same stock thickness. I'm trying to compare them here. I think they are the same. I'm not gonna lie, the Kodiak looks a little bit thicker, like maybe a millimeter thicker. I don't know if that's just my eye. It does. It looks a little bit thicker. It looks a hair thicker. Okay, interesting. The Mountain Lion's in K329, which is a super tough, good steel, but not a stainless. And the A6 Max is a tough steel, maybe not as tough as K329, but still very tough and more stainless. So stainless is good because I do a lot of winter stuff, and you know, things tend to rust in the winter. So yeah, let's see what other differences we can see. The grinds are almost the same. You can see there's that little clip point. The Grizzly has that. But the Kodiak doesn't, like I mentioned there. So hopefully you can kind of see that. All right, now let's do a crazy comparison, and we'll grab the Lynx. So tiny. It's a little baby. It's a little baby knife. Even the Mountain Lion dwarfs the Lynx. So you got that for a comparison. The Kodiak is about 2 1/4 lynxes long, 2 lynxes wide. Another fun size comparison we can do is just the Nomad Bushcrafter. It's not a particularly small knife just because of the handle's kind of big on this one. But yeah, still dwarfed, absolutely, by the Kodiak. And let's get some bigger knives out here. So got the Dropford Survivalist from Cold Steel. Kodiak's like twice as big as this knife. I've been using this knife for throwing. It's kind of fun to throw this knife. It's been damaging the scales on it, but it doesn't matter. I'm just going to put hockey tape around it when the scales go on there. And then I've got the Kershaw Camp 10, which I'm probably going to sell now that I got the Kodiak, because I'm probably just never going to use this thing again. It's a good knife though, no doubt. So the Camp 10, it's actually a much longer knife, so it's going to be a little bit more better at doing machete-like tasks, chopping and stuff. Let's see here if I can make the blades. Yeah, so you got another like inch or so of handle on the Camp 10. And you got another, no, blade length's about the same actually, I would say, which makes sense. Let's see the thickness though. I bet you the Kodiak's twice as thick as this thing. Yeah. Looks at least 1.5 times as thick, if not 2 times as thick. Hopefully you can see that there. Let's see, weight difference. Kodiak feels a little heavier, I think. I gotta switch hands just to, yeah, definitely heavier. So this is kind of more machete. Still a great knife. This isn't gonna baton as well. And it's probably not going to chop as well because it doesn't have as much weight for one thing, so more weight means better chopping. Batoning, more width means easier batoning because it's going to split the wood faster. So with this knife, you're going to be almost all the way through the wood before it really splits properly. And then this thing, it's going to split right as you get to this saber grind right here, just because it's so thick. So yeah. What else we got? We could compare it to the Pendleton Mini Hunter. Of course, it's going to be way bigger. I was actually thinking of putting this Pendleton Mini Hunter on the sheath of the Kodiak, maybe like down here or something like that. So it can be like the little buddy knife to this one. And then just maybe I'll just lash it on or something with some paracord. I could even lash it on like this. So it could just be like a companion knife kind of thing because it's so lightweight. And then, you know, if it falls off and I lose it, it's not a huge deal because they're not a crazy expensive knife at all. But I'll probably be carrying around the Lynx, to be honest, anyways. The sheath on this is really good. You got your drain hole, really tight fitting sheath. Nice kydex. I do prefer the kydex with the little push on them, like on the Lynx, where you got this little push for your thumb. These ones don't have that. It's kind of a push cut into here, where but when you have that little lip, it's actually higher up, so it's actually easier to grab and push, but it's semantics. It's not a big deal. So yeah, I'm really excited about this Work Tuff Gear Kodiak. I'm going to go chop some stuff while my wife is out so she doesn't notice that I bought a new knife. Before I do that though, I'm going to tell you this 90-degree spine super sharp. So you're going to be able to scrape a ferro rod, no problem with it. Honestly, it's heavy. I think it'll do good if you have your ferro rod long and it's mounted, or it's not mounted, but put against something, and you could do this. Or you could put the knife down like this and draw against it. So that'll work really well. This is going to be my fire crafting knife for sure. This thing's freaking awesome. I love the high vis just because I tend to set things down and then be like, oh, where did I put that? So if I'm in the bush or something and I'm delimbing a tree, because I get my own firewood and stuff, for whatever reason I set it down. Hopefully I won't lose it. This will help me find it quicker. So yeah, this is one heck of a cool blade, man. If you're thinking about getting one of these, I can already tell, man. You're going to want to get one. These things are sick. Thanks for watching the first impressions of this Work Tuff Gear Kodiak. And you have yourself a wonderful day. And stay safe out there. The world's a crazy place nowadays.